Aston Villa and Chelsea have sold their women's teams to themselves, and I've got two questions off the back of this. Number one, should Newcastle United just follow suit and do the same? Internal group transfers, as they're known as, are where you take an asset or assets and mix them that are ripe for a strategic sale. That sale is then translated into an internal sale on your books, and that means you get more wiggle room to invest in the playing side and you stay PSR compliant. Or, and this is my counter argument, is it really an effective long-term solution? Because it's not really a sale because it's just there on the books. It's not really external revenue. And eventually, will you fall foul of the regulators? In this case, UEFA, because they don't recognise internal group transfers, whereas the Premier League do. And is it effectively, in the long run, just putting sellotape over a leak? Now, in today's video, I'm going to explore the pros and cons of 11 different possible assets that Newcastle United could exploit. So, welcome to today's video. A very happy Friday morning, everyone. I hope you're all well and had a fantastic week. The weekend's now hours away. Welcome back to the Magnificent Mags channel. Thank you as always for tuning in. Now, if you do like this content, please drop all my social media channels a like and follow at the end of this, and especially the YouTube channel. If you do like this content, you want the latest videos dropping in your inbox, then please hit that subscribe button and you'll get the notification when the latest content is dropping on my channel. And I just want to say a massive thank you to all my current subscribers and new subscribers. In recent weeks, the channel's jumped to 332 subscribers and more. Honestly, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. It's fantastic. Love having you all on board, and please continue with your comments and constructive feedback, because that's how my channel grows, by listening to all yous. But yes, today's video, let's get underway with internal group transfers. As I said at the outset of this video, I've picked 11 assets. I've done some investigating on this. I've been planning this for a while, but it's not something you can just jump into. I've done a little bit research, but don't worry, it's not going to be a deep dive or anything that's boring. If you wanted to be bored, I'd say go off and watch Mrs. Brown's Boys. Honestly, that'll put you to sleep. But yeah, it's not going to be a deep dive, like I said, into too much detail. But I've picked out 3 pros and 3 cons from the 11 areas Newcastle United could potentially exploit, like Aston Villa have done for PSR purposes, to give them a bit more wiggle room when it comes to transfers and wages. Obviously, Chelsea have also sold their women's team, and Planet Earth, and the US Space Station, and a few wind farms as well. But yes, let's get into it. So the first of the assets I'm going to go through is the Newcastle United women's team. The 3 pros I've picked out are: it can generate significant accounting income to help with PSR. 2, it's a high value asset with ever increasing value. That's thanks to obviously PIF, Amanda Staveley and Murdard when they were here. They've turned Becky Langley's team from semi-pro into professional, and also Becky's took them from the 4th division to the Women's Championship with aspirations to go to the Women's Super League next season. And 3, a proven precedent has been set by Chelsea and Aston Villa, both selling their women's teams, and it's helped them stay PSR compliant. So 1, as I said earlier, it won't help from a European perspective because UEFA don't recognise intra-group transfers. 2, well, there might be fan backlash if the women's team's undervalued. And 3, it could impact investment on the women's team, because basically, if you're just selling them off like Chelsea and Aston Villa have willy-nilly, it's saying you're undermining them. You don't really care about the women's team. And that could impact on them getting sponsorships. And then if you look at it this way, there's 3 promotion spaces opening up for the Women's Super League next season. So if you sell it now, you're going to undervalue it, because you could get more money if the club do invest this window and go for promotion next season. And then if they're a WSL team who are going for the biggest trophies with a stronger squad and going for Europe, you could get a lot more money for them then. And also, you've got to think of it this way too. Our women's team are currently a championship team. Aston Villa's and Chelsea's are both women's Super League teams. So like I've just said, undervaluing it, you're not going to get as much money now with them being in the 2nd tier as you would in the top tier. So my second asset is St James's Park's facilities. So that could be retail space, event space and parking. So you could generate large sums by selling real estate assets. You could effectively clean up the accounts by moving physical assets off the balance sheet. Or the third one, there's potential for future development and getting rental income. Now the cons, if you are taking these facilities out of day-to-day club management, then it'll increase operational complexity. And also, if you've got reduced stadium control, that could also then have a knock-on effect of having increased overheads, and you would probably get scrutiny, not just from the wider public, but especially the fan base, the local area, at a sudden fire sale of club assets. So there is a lot of pros, but also a lot of cons for selling facilities at St James's Park. So the third, assets. Yes, assets. Training ground and academy. They're both high value long-term assets. Second pro is it would help you stay PSR compliant while being able to maintain day-to-day football operations. And three, you could leverage a little bit more revenue out of it, which you could then invest into youth development, and that could help to bring through the next Paul Gascoigne, Lewis Miley, or Andy Carroll. Now the cons of selling the training ground or academy to ourselves. Well, separating operations may reduce synergy in the place, might disrupt like the harmony, what works so well behind the scenes with Eddie Howe, and really putting a value on the training ground academy. Can you really put a price on those places because it's where the day-to-day operations happen, and we might undervalue it? I think it's a difficult thing to value. And three, I think the fan backlash would be massive, because effectively selling your academy, especially not just your first team, is like selling your soul to the devil, and you don't really want to be doing that because it's the lifeblood of your club. So on to number 4, and it's the Newcastle United Foundation and Community Programme. So the 3 pros that I have found out of this are there could be tax benefits to it. It demonstrates corporate responsibility, and while they are smaller assets, they are socially positive. However, the 3 cons are massive. 1, minimal financial impact, so it wouldn't really make a dent, so is it really worth it? 2, community engagement would be impacted and down if you're over commercialising the foundation and community programs. And 3, really morally, is it right? Like I said with the training ground and academy, it would be like selling your soul. It's a community asset. It does wonders for the area with the football. It's obviously got the cycling. It's got the dance studio, cycling studio, as I covered in my Shola Miobi video when I was on site in the West End there, up in Elsick. It done massive wonders for him when he was able to go there when it used to be Murray House into the first team. So I don't really think it would be good in the spirit of things, because it would kill its identity and purpose and what it was built for. So number 5, merchandising and licensing rights. The 3 pros to this, it's scalable revenue potential, it would retain brand control, and it would provide flexibility for internal deals. And cons, well, it could lead to internal disputes over distribution of revenue shares. There's tax and regulatory risks, so do you really want to get into those? And 3, valuations could get very messy and complex. So number 6, digital media and content platforms. Well, 1 pro I've found is it's a potentially lucrative future revenue stream. 2, there's always high fan engagement, so that's good for growth. And 3, it would fit in with the modern digital media trend. So the cons, well, it would require upfront investment, which I don't think the owners would be willing to do. It could create internal competition, and you don't really want that, do you, where no one's aligned and there's disharmony. And 3, the valuations and revenue streams, I think for something like that would be pretty unpredictable. So we're over halfway now. On to number 7, sponsorship and revenue contracts. The 3 pros I found is it would keep revenue within the club's ownership, create valuable intangible assets, and also it would smooth out revenue. So the cons, that could lead to contractual and legal complexities. We don't want that. The clubs certainly don't. Then that in turn could mean sponsorship dissatisfaction. We especially don't want that and to upset anyone. And 3, it could lead to increased scrutiny from regulators. I mean, we've all seen the associated party transaction news. And then imagine we try to get Aramco in, the uproar there'd be. There wouldn't just be meetings for a couple of days. It would go on for consecutive days, for weeks and months on end, because they're trying anything they can to stop us from growing and being competitive. So number 8, player image rights. So the 3 pros I've found are you could combine media and merchandise deals, you could get a separate revenue stream from sport and results, And a big one, you can monetize star players beyond their transfers alone. So you can maximize that area for the likes of Alexander Isak, Bruno, Sven Botman, Sandro Tonali, Anthony Gordon, or dare I say it, after last night's news from Romano and Craig Hope, Anthony Elanga. However, the cons to that, even if we do get Anthony Elanga, as it looks like it's close, it's a highly complex and legal area. There's very close monitoring from UEFA, the regulator, and tax authorities. And 3, what if you overvalue one player? And then that creates disharmony and dissatisfaction from other players. So 3 to go, number 9, event hosting rights. Well, the pros I've found is it can capitalise on you having your stadium and its facilities. It can diversify your revenue beyond football, and it could also create a profitable standalone business. But the cons are, if you're operating it separately from the day-to-day club operations, then it could prove to be too much, too time-consuming and too complex. Also, it might require additional infrastructure investments, so would the club really be wanting to commit to that? And 3, it could be a seasonal thing, so the income may be high in some months, but then when the football season's done in the off-season like now, then the revenue could drop, so it mightn't be profitable. So number 10, the penultimate one, hospitality and catering. Well, one pro is it would clarify profit margins, and then the second and third one kind of dovetail together, would synergize and dovetail nicely with my point at number 9, events hosting. It would tie in nicely with that, and it would bring in a lot of revenue on match days and said events. Cons, well, it's labour intensive for 1, 2, there'd be management and valuation complexities, and 3, and we really don't want this, it's a big risk. If you're separating it, well, there could be a big drop off in quality. Finally, number 11, we've made it to the end, real estate development. So the pros I've found for this are it would spread the financial risk from day-to-day club operations. It could also attract additional investors. And also, it could have really long-term financial value. So the cons, it would require a lot of capital, it would be long timelines, there'd be lots of planning and legal hurdles to get through. I mean, this is probably what's holding up, in my opinion. If you watch my video on the 25,000 signatures for the St. James's Park development, we're wanting news, it was delayed again, of course, but again, that's one factor for it. You've got to factor in the planning and legal hurdles. You can't just go and build a stadium, here's the money. That's my third point in the cons. Local, national, public backlash. And the club are going through lots of bureaucracy and red tape at the moment, I believe, in trying to get the stadium plans, let alone revealed, but all signed off before they announce anything. So do they really want that? With further real estate development? I don't think so. So to summarise, will Newcastle United follow this route and sell stadium-related assets, players' image rights, real estate development, training ground, academy? Will they mix and match assets to generate internal sales that will raise income to circumvent PSR, make one more compliant and give her a bit more wiggle room? Or, as I've said, on the flip side, it is a double-edged sword. And that's because the regulators are watching. UEFA's rules are a lot stricter and financial regulations are going to get tighter. And could that mean a financial fine? Yes. Look, I know PIF are the richest owners in the world, but do they really want a financial fine? No. They've been doing it properly so far. And also, although it hasn't happened, as we've seen in Europe at the moment, we don't want to risk a potential European ban by UEFA because we're bottom when it comes to coefficient. So we're going to have a hard group in this season's Champions League draw, and we want to be in Europe regularly and building with coefficients because we want to be a club who are regularly in the Champions League, put our name out there, showing everyone we want to be one of Europe's elite, potentially win a European trophy in future, attract better sponsorships, more investment from the owners, better PSR-wise, and it means we can attract the best players. And remember, I pointed this out a little bit earlier, that these sales aren't really external revenue. These sales are just things that are on a book. They'll just appear on the book looking like it's additional income, but it really isn't. What do you think? Do you think Newcastle United, following all that, with the pros and cons, should follow Villa and Chelsea's suit and sell their women's team to comply a bit more with PSR and give her that breathing space? Or, like I've said a million times, is it just sellotape over a leak and long term we're going to fall foul of UEFA and they'll just bring in more rules to try and restrict when it's not worth it long term. And anyway, what's in our favour? The way we've done it so far, yes, it's been frustrating, but we're on the verge of getting a Langer. We've ended with trophy drought, and we've got Champions League twice in 3 years. The club's grown, and the stadium and training ground announcements will be coming in due course. So it's all looking positive. So my opinion on it, my verdict, I'd rather stick to what we're doing, because all these are just short-term fixes with no long-term gain. But anyway, that's it from me for now. Take care. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care. Bye for now.